Hey everyone, I have an exciting show for you today. We are bringing back a returning guest, a very experienced real estate investor. We've had Ryan on a couple of times now. He signed up for my course here recently as an experienced investor, and he reached out to me saying, you know what, it's helped me. So I thought we should talk to him, figure out what he has seen in the course and why you might want to give it a shot if you're getting started in real estate. So how you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing fantastic, Mike. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, just in case somebody has missed your past couple of videos on the channel, why don't you kind of highlight what you do? Because you've been in the real estate business for quite a while, lots of transactions. So by most accounts, people would call you not only wildly successful, but extremely experienced as well.
I think, thank you for those compliments. So basically what I do in this market today, where we're going is we just do a lot of fix and flips. I shouldn't say that. We're buying a lot of property, but we don't do them all the fix and flips. We do some fix and flips, and we do some hotels, which is basically we're going to buy it, clean it out, do a little bit of improvements on it, and then put it back on the market on the MLS. And then also I do so that's with my partner. And then me personally, I do a lot of subject to buy and hold financing. So I'm taking over someone else's bad debt. Mm-hmm. We're giving them debt relief. We're keeping the property and we're turning it either into a rental or we're going to sell or finance it, which means that I'll be the bank for somebody else. They'll give me a down payment and I'll increase the monthly cash flow, $200, $300, $400 above what my mortgage payment is. And we'll do those all day long.
Yeah, all day long. So just to give people scale and scope, would you say you've done more or less than 100 transactions over your career?
I'm approaching my 100th. I think when I tallied them up, and this was earlier this year, we were at 78.
Okay. And you've been doing this how many years?
Full-time, this is my 5th year.
Yeah. So full-time, 5 years, real estate investor, nearly 100 transactions. And he reached out to me because again, we've known each other for a while now. And he goes, hey, I'm going to take your course. I'm like, Ryan, thanks. I appreciate it. I don't need the $200. But he's like, no, I think I'm going to learn something. I want to figure out what learn this market thing is you keep talking about and preaching.
And that's what it was. Honestly, I'm like, I got a good grasp of my market. At least I thought I did. And I'm like, you're pounding this thing pretty hard.
Right.
And it kept gnawing at me. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and do it, take the time. And it wasn't the money issue. Honestly, it was the time that I was going to have to carve out to invest into the course. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I'm glad I did. Honestly, I'm glad I did. And it wasn't just like I listened to this course. It was like, no, you need to stop and do the work, right?
Yeah.
And that's what made the difference for me.
And again, I organized the course on purpose because a lot of courses I've seen over the years, they start out with all the fluff. What's your why? And all these soft, cushy things. Yep. I'm like, screw it. Step one, let's start looking at your market and doing work. So do you like how that just came out the gate?
I did. And that's what really shocked me about it. And the reason I was kind of hesitant about it was, I watched some of your other videos. You're like, I know the zip code down pat, I know the Tower District in Fresno and all this stuff. The challenge that I have is I'm more rural. And so, for example, my city, I have 2 zip codes.
Okay.
We're 66,000 people. We have 2 zip codes. And so I have pockets that are like, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And so what I had to actually do, and thank God for Zillow, is I can go in with a little draw tool and I can draw the pockets that we invest in. And that's what I actually did. So my spreadsheet is just these little pockets with their names. And that's what I've been doing.
That's awesome. So why don't we talk about that first experience? So I think step one is, 3-4 hours of watching, but really it's about, okay, let's get in, let's get not only the criteria down, which, okay, Zillow, drawing, awesome, but it's also being repetitive, right? So what did you see as you're doing this day after day? Did the market start talking to you in a way that you didn't expect?
It did actually. And what was happening is in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, these prices are significantly higher than what I thought. And what happened was a lot of the deals that we passed on because we're just like, oh no, this is not going to work for what we're looking to do, started popping up in the back of my mind like, hey, this is a deal. We should go back and circle back with the seller. And that's exactly what we did. We got 2 properties under contract.
Wow. Well, that'll certainly pay for the course.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think we'll break even on the course.
I think you'll break even. Oh, that is hilarious. So that's awesome. So by watching your market in a consistent way, even you learn something. And I think what you're saying is, the market's a little higher, the listing price is a little higher than you expected.
Yeah, significantly higher. And I mean,
Wow.
there's tight inventory right now. And so, for example, round numbers here, we were at this guy, this guy is, he's divorcing his wife and he's moving out and he wanted a $130 a square foot, basically what it came down to. And the house is 1,000 square feet, like on the money.
Okay.
And we know consistently that these houses were selling all fixed up for 200,000 because we had several in that area that we've done over the last several months here.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's not going to work, guy. And plus, he wanted 2 months to get everything packed and moved out. And so we offered him 100,000.
Yeah.
Or $100 a square foot, basically. And it just wasn't working. But as I was doing this pocket with Zillow, I'm starting to look at this pocket here. I'm like, hey. And then actually, let me back up here. So I created a price per square foot section on the spreadsheet here, but I also went back and you talked about A, B's, and C's.
Yes.
And in my mind, I've always looked at the A's because we were just going to do a remodel on it. And so what I found is that in this particular area, that the A's had gone up to about 220 a square foot, but the B's were right around 190. And I thought, oh, holy crap here. If I buy this for 130 and we just do minimal, make it rent ready, we might be able to dump it for, 165, 170 a square foot. I mean, that's a good payday. I mean, that's a $45,000 payday for us. We're buying this house. And I wouldn't have seen it. I would not have seen it if I hadn't have gone through it that way and looked at A, B's, and C's and looked at what B's were selling for and having the price per square foot. So that's where it came down.
Oh, that is awesome. So I'm curious, when you drew that first circle, how many active listings showed up? Because your market pretty cold. So maybe your account was probably higher than most.
22.
Oh, only 22. Okay. All right. So it's right in. I talk about 20 to 40, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
I got crazy and I did 6 of them and I'm like, okay, well, this is too much. So I narrowed it down to 3.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really happy that, because again, to have a guy like you say, no, I did it and I got in, like in the course, get between 20 and 40, because when you watch that, it's just enough to see it move and you can still internalize it every day.
Well, you know what? And then this is an unintended consequence. We had a property that we bought. If I had been doing this before, I probably wouldn't have bought the property because it was too much. But we bought it anyway, and we've been sitting on it. Just haven't had our crews go over to fix it up yet. And surprisingly, having looked at where the numbers are at, I'm like, well, hot damn, I can just put this in the market as is, and we'll probably get a buyer for it, having done nothing to it.
Nice.
It's one of those things where we're lucky and not smart and wasn't intentional. But
Hey man, if you put a gun to my head, I'd rather be lucky all day long.
I would too.
I'll take luck every time, no problem.
But I'm starting to see things that I like. Again, experience or not, I'm starting to see things from a different advantage point, having tracked these numbers.
That's awesome. So I'm curious, now that you've been doing this, one of the things that I think is going to happen, I think last Friday, which would have been what, the 7th or the 5th? 5th? 7th?
Yeah, the 5th.
5th.
That was my day.
I think that will be an interesting day for us, because I think what's going to happen over the next month, and it'll be interesting to talk again at the end of the month or early July, is I think listings are going to start to go up, because I think sellers who were holding back for the spring selling season are going to start coming. So I'm just curious. It's been 5 days. Are you seeing any listing increase yet or not?
I can answer that for sure. So I started tracking this about 2 weeks ago, and I was seeing maybe 1 listing every other day.
Okay.
As of yesterday, 5 listings, and one of my pockets just popped up.
See, I'm calling it again, folks.
Yeah.
Listen to the channel. I said this was coming. And if you're a real estate agent, call your clients, because now is the time.
Yeah, which is also for us. So we're like, crap, let's get our stuff out there now, because if it's flooded, then this window is gone for us.
Yeah, because right now, listings are here, demand is here.
Yes.
Listings could come back to match, or they could go here. You just don't know. Get out.
And then your price is going to be pushed down because you're going to have deflationary pressure.
You need to be looking right now. If you're new to this game, now is the perfect time to watch your market. Don't commit capital. Don't be in a hurry. I did a video on Monday about a guy that was just frankly overpaying for something. But folks, pretend like you have no money. Go look for the next 45 days, because the market is going to be talking to you. Listings are going to go up. Now is the time to learn. Would you agree?
100%. And you're going to see there are deals that are still out there. And here's you say this a lot, and you talk about, and this is a rookie move mistake, is a lot of rookies will go out there and be like, oh my gosh, these new investors, like, for example, there's this property, it's only $72 a square foot. Fantastic, man. I'm going to buy this property. It's, it's 2,500 square feet, and it's like, it's only $89,000. I'm totally buying it.
Right.
It's a total fixer, though. I mean, you're going to be dumping at least 110, 120,000 in this property, because it's a bank repo. It's nasty. But again, that's the mistake that they see, is how cheap it is. Like, oh, it must be a great deal.
Yeah.
And you got to extrapolate, because for me, I looked at that and I'm like, crap, the money put into it. And then if I were to get the time, of course, the time you can't never get back. But also, if I'm looking at price per square foot, because it's an oversized property for the area, I'm not going to maximize that. And so and I saw a guy do this recently. He bought a house that went pending, and I thought, he's at market already. He doesn't know it, but he's at market, and he thinks he's going to improve it and make it. And it was a brutal move. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah. So again, folks, just because there's I say this all the time, right? The only thing that makes one rental at a time work, the course work, is I'm trying to help you understand what a bad, average, good, and great deal is. And it all starts with understanding what average is. You need to spend 45 days understanding what average is, because then you can feel confident about both sides of average. And most stuff listed is average.
It is.
Yeah. Oh,
if you can buy below average, man, and do a little tweak to it and put it back in the market. That's been our saving grace, honestly, because we've been able to get in and out of property really fast and not have to hold on to it. Unlike that one I mentioned earlier, that we bought it and we're holding on to it still, but the market's risen, so we were able to.
Oh, that's cool, man. So again, let's talk to the person who's interested. I call them vibrating, right? They're vibrating with excitement. They're like, what do I need to do? What would you tell them about the course? Because again, I've kept it at a price point. I now do Saturday live streams with students, as you know.
Right.
What would you tell someone if they're thinking about it?
Well, if they're thinking about it, then they're not serious about being an investor. I mean, this honestly is probably the most affordable thing out there, and by far will give them the biggest advantage. Like I poo-pooed it. I'm like, it's like $200, and I've been doing this a long time. I know enough. But you kept hammering home about how important it was to find the difference between an exceptional deal and just an okay average deal. And I thought, you know what? I've been doing a lot of okay deals. I'd love to have an exceptional deal, and that's what kind of pushed me over it. And so I think if someone's vibrated in this thing and they're serious, especially to your market that you cater to busy professionals, they can very easily, honestly, like the way I blew through this course, I haven't finished it quite yet, but it's beautiful. I can listen to it as I'm working out, as I'm driving, or as I'm doing different things, and I can get the gist of what I need to listen to. And then when it's time to actually do the work, I can do the work. So if you're busy, I think it's the perfect transitional thing for them to actually jump into and work, and still not have it take away so much of their life that they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake I see with a lot of new investors, is a lot of the stuff requires a lot of attention, a lot of time. And if all they're doing is spending 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes every other day watching or tracking their market, they're going to have their finger on the pulse. They're going to know a lot more as far as when the deal hits them between the eyes. They're going to go, holy crap, this is the deal. I got to move on it now.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear that. And again, I put the course together for folks like us who have short attention spans. So even if you just got through the first 3 phases, that's going to be the meat of the presentation, right? Step 1, learn your market. What do I mean by that? Get the criteria, do it over and over. Step 2 is, okay, let's talk math, because some people are comfortable with the math, some aren't. So I break it down in painstaking detail. And step 3 is, okay, merge them together, folks. Now get busy and start to understand what average is. Because once you get average, you can make exceptional deals. But you can't find exceptional deals unless you know what average is, because every market is different. And that's so important to get across.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, it's one other thing I want to just mention is, when we talk about average deals, this is what I did. This was the default, and this is where I went wrong. Is I looked at, and I shouldn't say wrong. I'm not like, I'm going bankrupt or anything.
No,
but
you're doing okay.
I'm doing all right. Is I looked at average. I looked at my average sales price, and I looked at the median price. I'm like, oh, the median price point is this. If I'm buying below the median, I'm doing good. Right. And that was, I hate to say it quite this way, but it was almost a fallacy. That just because I'm buying something below the median price point doesn't mean that I'm getting a good deal. And the reason for that, especially up here where I live, is my zip code is so vast. I have different pockets that trade at different prices. And so it wasn't until I broke it down into the pockets that I realized, hey, maybe just because it's below the median for this particular zip code does not mean that it's the median or the average for that pocket that I'm buying in. And that was what really made the difference for me.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm just happy to hear this is helping guys even like you. It warms my heart, because I spent several months putting this together, because everybody's asking, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it?
Yeah.
So I just keep repeating, learn your market, learn your market.
And that's the truth, man. And I'm grateful that I took the time to do that.
Well, very cool. Any closing thoughts on this? Because this has been very helpful. I appreciate it. And I have a huge smile. Thank you.
Oh, man, you're very welcome. No, the closing thought is do it, man. If you're serious about making money in real estate, this is probably, you'll look back and this will be the best money you'll ever spend. I'm looking back at this now thinking like, crap, I wish I would have done this earlier, because I know that for a fact there are deals that I missed out on because I wasn't tracking them quite to this detail.
Yeah. And again, folks, I've kept it under $200 on purpose because I want to help everyone. I could have very easily sold this for $1,000. I could very easily do one-on-one mentoring. That's not who I am. I'm trying to help
worth
them.
It. It would be, to me, it would definitely be worth it. If I would have paid $1,000, because I took that deal we just picked up. I mean, $45,000 in my pocket that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Wow, that is awesome. But I'm not going to raise the price. My intention with this is to help raise everyone's boat. I came from nothing, very, very poor. I'm going to keep this at $199. I'm going to give an hour away every Saturday.
God bless you for that.
And hopefully, if you want to check out the outline, there'll be a link in the description below. Check it out. Again, thank you, Ryan, for doing this. And again, thanks for your books. Just so you guys know, Ryan is a published author. I got 100 of his books at the Hub in Fresno. If you were looking, if you come to the Hub, not only can you get my book, but you also can get Ryan's. So I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you.
You got it, brother. Take care. Thanks.
All right, thanks.